Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪 channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today joining me is Palak Shah, and we're going to talk about a global angle to this national security incident that took place in the new Parliament building on the 13th of December. What happened thus far, we all know. Two people jumped into the well of the Parliament. They must have jumped at least 10 feet, for which you need training and also special shoes, because as soon as they jumped, they were able to get up on their feet and they were able to jump desks and so on and so forth. So how did that happen? Did they get training? Plus, how did they manage to sneak in plastic spray cans that would with which they sprayed yellow colored gas, which seemed to have upset a few people? And what was the watch and ward staff doing? At least 13 people suspended. How did they allow these things to get snuck in? All this and more. This is what happened on the well. After that, 143, if I'm not wrong, MPs in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have been suspended. All this is happening, but somewhere somebody seems to be wanting to keep this thing alive, not let this thing die down. And that's where our topic starts. Who is trying to keep this thing going? So to know all this and more, Palak have a very different view at what is happening here, and he's going to share his thoughts on this. Palak, namaskar and welcome to 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪 channel.
Namaskar, Sri. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been interesting few days, right from the election results of state elections that were declared, where BJP had a thumping victory. Since then, all the drama and the ruckus has started in the parliament. Now, this is the last session of parliament before 2024 national elections, and hence this parliament session is very crucial, because the idea of the government will be to pass maximum number of bills that they want to in this session of parliament, whereas the idea of the opposition will be to disrupt the parliament as much as they can, so that the work doesn't happen and government is seen in poor light ahead of the national elections. Now, coming to the gas attack. See, this gas attack on India's parliament cannot be seen in isolation. Those who do not know the nuances of the global game of geopolitical dominance, only they will see this as a stray incident and fall for the false narrative by the opposition parties that few jobless youth created the ruckus. Now, this is absolute bunkum and foolish talk. Please understand that nobody was hurt in the attack, and hence that was not the motive of the attackers. There was no loss of property either. So why would anybody execute such a grand plan of entering India's parliament after piercing such tight security with tear gas and conduct a very dud operation? If the motive of those young people was to protest, then there are several other ways to do it, various ways to do it without the risks involved. Now, that is that they were caught, and terrorist law, India's stringent terrorist law has been slapped on them. Now, they will remain in jail for a long time without any bail under UAPA or even court hearing. So what has the attack achieved? If you decipher this properly, it was not a dud operation. The attack was very high on symbolism. Everything in global politics is about symbolism. First, whoever was behind the attack wanted to send a signal to the government and Prime Minister Narendra Modi that we can reach you anywhere and we can attack you anywhere. We will go into that story today as we progress in our show. But first, let us talk about symbolism. One of the purpose of the attack was that it diverted the attention of the world and Indian public from the massive election victory of BJP in 3 states. It gave a very clear indication. These election victories of BJP in the 3 large states gave very clear indication of which way the winds were blowing and the mood of the nation for national elections, which is just 5 months away. So Modi's detractors, or those who envy his growing global image, are certainly shimmering with anger. Now, there is also a very thick Khalistani plot behind this story, as I have reported. On the day of the attack, within hours, Business World, I did a story in Business World which said that the Indian government and the national security agencies were uh, were investigating the Khalistani angle into the attack. Now, today, if you see, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given an interview to Financial Times, and in that interview, it is for the first time he has broken his silence on Khalistani terrorist Guru Patwant Singh Pannu. That is a very significant statement he has made. He has said that whoever is accusing India of whatever activities that US has accused of, he's saying, give us the evidence. He's also said that he's also spoken in strong words about Pannu and how he's being harbored and he's he is wanted in India. Just now, this attack, if you see the timing, just 3 days after the results of December 3, 3 days after the state election results on December 3, this Pannu, who is currently being protected by President Joe Biden's administration in the US, came out with a video threatening an attack on India's parliament. This was reported widely in the media, the December 6 video that Pannu has come out with. Now, nobody has raised any doubts whether the video is fake or not fake, but it was widely reported in India. He has clearly said in the video that he would shake the foundation of India's parliament on or before December 13, the same day when Pakistani ISI-backed terrorists had attacked the Indian parliament in 2002. Now, Pannu's attack did happen. What we all saw was that the gas that was dispensed both inside the parliament and outside the parliament by the miscreants was yellow in color and orange in color. Both these colors resemble the Khalistani flag. During the protest marches, you might have seen the Khalistani flag is yellow in color. But there is also a Kesari color Khalistani flag which is put up, orange color, Kesari is orange color Khalistani flag which is put up outside many gurudwaras in India and even outside around the world. So this is what, so this was the symbolism. This Khalistani terrorist, Pannu, told the government that he was sending a signal that we can reach you anywhere and we can attack you anywhere, like they did at the Red Fort during the farmer protest. In this, Pannu was also showing solidarity towards Pakistan since the attack was carried out on December 13, when Pakistan attacked Indian Parliament in 2002. So this was to put holes in India's narrative that they have disabled Pakistan and ISI for the past few years now. So this was also sending a signal to Indian public, Indian diaspora, and PM Modi that India was vulnerable yet and could be attacked anytime by the ISI and the Khalistanis. The other angle to this story is India's growing global reach and PM Modi's global stature. Why the US is sheltering Pannu is a story. There's a story behind it. Imagine the country that does not shy away from targeting Osama bin Laden in Pakistan and several other of the enemies of US like Saddam Hussein, who are, is sheltering Pannu in their country. And Pannu has accepted responsibility for several terrorist attacks in India. He is wanted by India. So the question is, why is US doing this? See, the story, starts somewhere in 2020, when the US elections were on and Prime Minister Modi went to the US to campaign for President Donald Trump. Everybody will remember the slogans like "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar" in the US. Both Modi and Trump were campaigning together in US elections in early 2020. Now, aiming to woo the influential Indian American votes numbering over 2 million, Trump campaign also released a video commercial of Modi in which it said, how America enjoys a great relationship with India, and their campaign was supported by the Indian administration. Now, this video was released by, I think, Kimberly Guilfoyle, national chair of Trump Victory Finance Committee, in a tweet. This has really rattled the CIA and the deep state in America. You know why? This shows
Why do you say that?
India, yeah, because Modi coming and campaigning in the US rattles the CIA and the deep state in America because it shows India's growing global reach. It shows the influence of Prime Minister Modi. Imagine how angry they are that Modi is coming to America and he can make a US president win an election. That is the kind of, so this shows this shows the growing reach of Modi, the kind of stature that Modi has in the global politics. So even while Trump lost the elections, and we all know the story behind, what all drama went on in that, but the story of India's global dominance and the reach continued unhindered, with India unabashedly buying oil from Russia at the peak of Ukraine war, and even going ahead with the S-400 deal and rejecting the third missile systems of the US. Not only this, India has gone ahead and struck foreign transactions in rupee instead of dollar with various governments and has inked deals to make rupee a tradable currency in several countries. This is the reason, Sri, which is hurting the US. And as I said, geopolitics is a game of symbolism. So although the US dollar is decades away from losing its status or dominance as the global reserve currency, but the show of strength, by countries like India hurts the global image of US and shows the country in poor light, as it tells the world, that global superpower is slowly losing its influence over India that it once enjoyed during the regime of Manmohan Singh or the UPA government, when the US managed to bulldoze with the 1-2-3 nuclear deal, or take out Arthur Anderson from Bhopal after the Bhopal gas tragedy. So that is the story. And you see the farm protest, or you see this Khalistani plot, you see the reason they are sheltering Pannu. All this is to show India in poor light, to attack Modi's macho image, and to show that India is still vulnerable and you are under our thumb. That is the story, Sri.
Thank you, Palak. But I will differ a little bit. Let's take a look at UPI and what you mentioned. Look, UPI is going to make transactions easy inside India. There's no doubt about that. And that is perhaps hurt the growth of credit card companies such as Visa, American Express, and MasterCard. But if you take a step back and look at it, Palak, the percentage of business they were getting from India was not very high to start with. It was only a preserve of very, very rich people, because the seller, who has to pay 2.9 to, I think, 1.9%, somewhere in that band of the actual price. Supposing I buy a product for 100 rupees in India, the seller has to cough up 1.9 rupees to 2.9 rupees to the credit card. I don't get charged, but the seller gets charged. So sellers were, reluctant to take that thing. UPI, at least at this point of time, is zero cost to the seller and to the buyer, right? At this point, because India is trying to get that thing off and getting popularized. But if you take UPI outside of India, say like 20 countries have signed up, what do you think those countries can do with the UPI? Indians who are working there may be able to use their UPI accounts to do some transactions, but that is still rupees. I mean, conversion, if once there is a conversion, then all the other rules kick in, isn't it? So I am kind of not very sure about a symbolic gesture. What is the benefit of having UPI in many countries? Go ahead.
Shri, it is the platform that India, for the first time in the 70 years history of India, India is exporting such a tech-heavy platform to the world. That symbolism that shows India's growing power. Now we have seen that US tech companies giving all the solution to the world. But here something is reversing. So this maybe today this UPI may be limited to the Indian diaspora abroad, or those who are working expats, Indian expats who are working abroad in transactions. But what tells you that this platform will not be used, this platform of India, which is indigenously developed, will not be used by other countries for their own purpose, and they will embed this platform in their systems. So this is all advantage India. It shows India's might, India's influence. It shows India's power. You know that India is. You see, India has, during Modi's tenure, India has exported missiles to smaller countries. That is for the first time it has happened. I mean, 50 years or 70 years, India wasn't able to export arms. So there is a yeah.
So in terms of being an export power of some very good services, yes, India has made an impression. African countries, for example, could use India amongst themselves. But then there is also an assumption that connectivity is good. Unless these two go hand in hand, UPI and connectivity, like 3G connectivity, that goes in hand, first of all. Second of all, how many phones do you have the features to be able to exploit the UPI? It requires a certain amount of horsepower, right?
Absolutely.
So there is still some time before this can.
There is still some time. There is still some time, but the expertise that India is getting to the world, India is making its mark in the world. As I said, geopolitics is all about symbolism. All this narrates the growing might of India, the reach of India, Prime Minister Modi's stature. Why does US immediately after the state election victory, within few days, the US 6 days, I think 6 days ago, the US number 2 person, that is a Secretary of State Bilkin, went and met Asif Munir, the Chief of Army Staff in Pakistan. They are sending a signal, to India, that we are yet. I mean, everybody in India, there is a narrative in India that Pakistan is finished after demonetization, after COVID, because Pakistan was surviving on Indian fake currency. So after demonetization, there is a narrative in India that Pakistan is finished. Their trade, their businesses have crumbled badly. So US goes and meets the Chief of Army Staff and tries to get more pally with Pakistan. They are sending a signal. As I said, global politics is all about symbolism. So while India is doing certain acts of showing the world that yes, we are growing bigger, like sending out UPI, buying oil from Russia despite the pressure from Western countries and US not being able to sanction India on that. So that is India's way of showing its reach and might and growing influence and symbolism.
You mentioned something about fake currency disrupting Pakistan's economy. Is this the official stand of the Indian government, that by doing this we have lent a crippling blow to Pakistan's economy, or is it something that you are inferring, like the way I was inferring from my books?
No, Shri, I have read your books and they are really good. They give idea of how the networks operate, what are those juicy stories behind those smuggling routes in India, especially the states in South and Kerala, and how terrorists were using this means. See, Indian government will never give any official stance on this, but as I said, they will make it obvious with symbolism. Like we all see Prime Minister Modi giving hints in his speeches towards how Pakistan has been crumpled. Many leaders giving those hints. And we all see people, lot of discussion in Indian media. And we all know what is the state of Pakistan economically, how, they have been rendered basically a nobody in the world. And why did this happen? So there are a lot of stories about this fake currency racket, that was there in India. And one of the biggest story is that the terrorist attacks that were happening, the frequent terrorist attacks that were happening in India, the Mumbai train blast, be it Mumbai, be it any other metropolitan city, be it Kashmir, they have stopped. You know why? Because the fake currency racket is stopped. For all the terrorist activities you want to do, you need finance. So when Trump came, the US stopped, curtailed their aids drastically to Pakistan. And then this fake currency racket also, got a jolt after Modi's demonetization. So I think that is one of the key reasons why terrorism and the attacks on Indian soil from the Pakistan side have stopped. And this is the narrative that tells you that Modi's demonetization has been a grand success in stopping terrorism to a great extent, and it is only then he could do the Article 370 and the whole Kashmir story. I'll tell you one more. So there was this person in Pakistan called Javed Khanani. This Javed Khanani is a very colorful story. He owned the largest printing press in Pakistan. Just 1 month after the demonetization, Javed Khanani dies, and the story goes that he jumped from. He died accidentally, but that was. There is another story which says that he was killed by the ISI because he was having huge bundles of fake currency lying with him and he did not know what to do. So ISI feared that since he's a businessman, he'll go out and start talking, because anyways he was going out and start demanding money, compensation from the ISI and those who are behind the fake currency racket. So I think he was killed. So this Javed Khanani story, for those who know, is a very interesting angle behind India's demonetization success. Sri.
My dear man, you have not read my new book, Paper In, Money Out.
Oh, I've not read, Sri. I have to.
It is a fictionalization of what happened post demonetization.
Achha.
Everything you wanted to know, viewers, everything you wanted to know about this Khanani stuff. In fact, it's just coincidental. Like, that's all I can tell you. That book starts from like 1990s, early 90s, when the economic reform started in India. How banking, finance started taking off, and how there was a parallel attempt to try and get all these other shenanigans, fake currency. How did it all start? Who started it? Who stood to benefit? How many people were in the play? All this stuff captured fictionally for you all viewers. So in my opinion, if you guys liked Who Painted My Money White, Paper In, Money Out is an even better story, because it brings in everything on the 30-year window. What happened in the 30-year window? And that is why every time I see something like this, I can immediately connect, okay, this is another thing, that there is a vulnerability that has been caused because of the fake currency that is still available. 40 lakh crores of currency circulation happened because of fake currency, because the actual amount believed is 4 lakh crores. And before 2016, the velocity of money supply in India was 10x, because they're all cash based, right? So that 4 lakh currency had an impact of 40 lakh crores. 4 lakh crores had an impact of 40 lakh crores in the Indian economy. This is,
and
what
in contrast,
yeah.
Great, Sri. I think I'll grab this book of. It's already available on the stands.
Yes, it is. It's on Amazon. Paper In, Money Out. We'll put a link to that in the description section. In fact, it is already there. You just have to look for it. We will pitch that, because it's important to understand that somewhere I accidentally got onto this, because I couldn't tell the story about fake money and its printing and management without talking about this twins, Khanani twins.
In India, India has banned this company Delaru. So this Delaru was also supplying papers to Pakistan. Just imagine, Sri, we are buying papers from a country a company in the West, which is also supplying same papers to Pakistan. That huge the racket was, and this demonetization, which led to curbing of the old notes of higher denomination and reprinting of the new notes with paper sourced from India, it shows, it is evident enough to show that how it has curbed the fake currency racket. And then a drastic fall in the terrorist attacks in India is a story in itself, which says that fake currency was fueling all these things, and that is the reason that terrorism has gone down in India. So in those sense, I think demonetization has been a great success, and that is another uh, reason for India's growing global reach and popularity of Prime Minister Modi. And this is where his detractors, his uh, and those who envy him want to attack. And it is reported all over the media as to how Democrats have always been uh, a far too more friendly with the Pakistan, rather than India. So when Democrats come to power, politicians in India know, at least the right wing politicians in India know, that for them the 5 years are going to be balancing act until the Republicans come back. So I think this is what is going on, and US has always had this policy of blow hot, blow cold. While it'll you are an ally of US on several global issues, but they will also see that you remain under their thumb. So these various kind of uh, I would say high voltage global geopolitical games are going on, Sri.
Thank
And
you.
Pannu,
And one
and sheltering, and US sheltering Pannu is part of that global geopolitical game.
Thank you so much, Palak and viewers. This is something that is a seminal moment in India's in history and politics. We know that, well, now we are very reasonably sure that Dawood is gone, because the proof can be from the pudding. The pudding was that on hearing the news, a lot of shops in the areas that he used to own, meaning like mentally own and physically own, in Mumbai, they all shuttered. They all downed their shutters. That tells you that it really did happen. Anyway, so that is
Also,
the
Sri,
proof. Yeah,
also Sri,
yeah.
for the past 2 days, on the news of Dawood being poisoned, the Karachi stock markets have crashed by 8%.
That's
Today,
a big number.
today the benchmark Karachi 100 index hit I mean, was trading lower by 4% on the intraday trade. So, Dawood is a very big investor in Pakistan markets, in the stock markets. His relatives were vice president in Habib Bank. Javed Miandad was vice president in Habib Bank. There is one more Moti family in Pakistan, which is a front for Dawood Ibrahim. They were on the board of Karachi Stock Exchange. They owned several offices in the same building as Karachi Stock Exchange. One of the family members and key lieutenants of Dawood is uh, right now ensconced in a jail, in UK's jail. So, the one more indication to some giving some credence, 50-50, some credence to the news of Dawood being poisoned is the crash in Karachi stock markets.
Thank you so much, Palak. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. You come to P Gurus to get something that is 3 days ahead of the news cycle that MSM is going to jump on. Palak, you're going to get a lot of calls once this thing airs about additional information on Dawood Ibrahim. I guarantee it. Thank you once again, and namaskar.